In this episode, we are out at the beautiful Sanibel Island, and we are going to learn how to take a picture of the Milky Way. Let's go. My name is KT Wise with Wise Images Photography, and before we go ahead and talk about the Milky Way and taking pictures of the Milky Way, I want you guys to go ahead and know a few awesome things about Sanibel Island. You know, when you first arrive, you come through the toll plaza. There is a toll, so it was $6 when I went there the other day. Who knows if the price has changed since then, but either way, as you go up and you're going over this bridge, there is just nothing but this magnificent, like just beautiful turquoise water. I mean, absolutely stunning. And then one of the other things that you're going to notice about Sanibel Island is that they don't have a lot of like commercialism. So you're not going to see those big, huge, companies on the island. They try to keep everything as natural as possible. So what are the couple of things that I would really honestly suggest for you to see while you're there? The first place would be J.N. Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge Center. I would definitely go ahead and check that out at the Wildlife Refuge. They have a drive, they have pathways, they have an education building, and the bathrooms, guys, I couldn't video in the bathroom, but you guys got to check the bathroom out. It is like something you have never seen before. People kept on talking about, the bathrooms. I'm like, okay, alrighty then. But seriously, guys, check out the bathrooms. Absolutely fantastic. Inside the education building, you have lots of things that you can learn about J.N. Ding Darling, and learn about his comics and everything that he did for the refuge and the wildlife center. I keep on saying wildlife center. I don't know if that's exactly right or not, but that's okay. As you go to the left of the education building, that's where the drive and the pathways are. I was able to go down this one path. You can walk it, you can bike it. It's very shelly. It was very level for the most part. Like, I didn't have to worry about when I was walking, like twisting my ankle and stuff. It was pretty level, but it does have a little bit of a slight incline. I peeked off to this little boardwalk, and that's where I was able to catch a glimpse of this baby green heron. He was absolutely adorable. He was just trying to get some grub for himself, and I was able to capture this shot of him. And then also this one. That one kind of looks like me on a bad hair day, or maybe a good hair day. I don't know. Anyways, enough about that. You can also drive through the refuge. It has a 4-mile track that you can go through one way, 15 miles per hour. But this is a great place to get lots of imagery of birds and lots of other mammals. They have about 245 different species that are living in that area. Keep in mind that also too, you have migration. So sometimes the birds will be there, sometimes the birds won't be there. The best time to go to the wildlife refuge is going to be either early morning or late afternoon. The reason why is because one, this is when it's low tide, so you're going to find a lot of wading birds out, and just in general, wildlife is going to come out at this time because a lot of times they're getting their breakfast or they're going to go ahead and get their dinner at this time. And also too, for the photographers, this is a great time to get your imagery. Why? Because the sun is going to be lower in the sky, so you're going to get like nice, soft, even lighting versus a harsher light. Some of the imagery that I got was of a rosette spoonbill. Interesting fact that I just recently learned about them is that they actually get brighter as they get older, so their pink becomes darker. It has something to do with their nutrition. I can't really describe anything further than that, but I just found it an interesting fact. The other bird that I got a picture of would be the white ibis. And then I got a picture of this cool little guy called a reddish egret. And I really found these birds fascinating because they kind of look like they're dancing on the water and they're moving around. And what they do is they take their wings and they put their wings up in the air like this, and they're looking, because what happens is the fish will come up underneath the shadow of their wings, and then bam, they go ahead and get into the water, and hopefully they will come back up with a fish. There are definitely tons of other things there. They also have an Indian mound with a beautiful little boardwalk that you can walk. And just keep in mind, you're gonna see lots of different species there. I did manage to catch a glimpse of an iguana, which is actually an invasive species. But I wasn't able to catch a actual picture of them. But keep your eyes peeled and you'll see lots of wildlife. The next place I want to mention is Crow. I absolutely love this place. Now, this wasn't a place for photography. It was more about education. It was learning about wildlife because it is a rehabilitation center. It had tons of stuff. It had information about invasive versus native versus invasive species. It had information about where do the different animals live. It had taxidermy, so it allowed you to be able to actually touch and feel different parts of the birds, which I really found fascinating. A little grossed out at first, but I was like, but this is kind of cool. Like once I was like feeling the wings and I was like, oh man, it's so pretty. And like, it was just amazing to be able to have some of these items in your hands. One of the things that I would suggest is make sure that you go early enough so that you can get the behind the scenes tour. So a small but mighty place. There is a fee there, so make sure you check online before you go so you know how much it costs. So there are lots of other places that you can go. There's a lot to mention, but I want to go ahead and make sure that we start talking a little bit more about the Milky Way. So last night I was out here and I was thinking to myself about the whole Milky Way thing. And so that's how the idea came to me, because somebody was saying how the light pollution was really low out here. So at that point, I decided that I was going to go ahead and do some research. So what I did was I went ahead and looked up when was the best time to go ahead and see the Milky Way. And then I found out that that's between the hours of 12 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And then after that, I was like going, okay, so I found out what time is the best time. I also looked to see which direction I should actually be facing. So it actually said that I should be facing down south towards the Everglades, that I would have a better chance facing that direction to be able to hit the Milky Way. So that was a couple of the tips that I figured out while doing my research. And then there you go. So now it's just a matter of making sure I get a tripod and wake up early in the night. The other thing was last night was probably not going to be a good night to see the Milky Way, simply because there was a storm front coming in. So it was a little bit of a challenge. So I decided that I would wait till tonight to be able to go ahead and try to get this shot of the Milky Way. I walked outside and it was dark. It was a little scary, okay? So I look up to the sky and I'm like, that's it? I'm like, that's the Milky Way? That looks nothing like anything I've seen in pictures before. And I was honestly, guys, I was a little disappointed. I'm like going, gotta be kidding me. And so needless to say, at that point, you know, I had some ideas of going to the lighthouse. But once I looked up and saw it, I said, I'm not going to the lighthouse. I'll just take some pictures here. So I ran back inside, grabbed my camera, came back out. All right, so I know you guys can't see me, but I'm trying to keep the light down because of the turtles right now. It's summer season, so it's nesting season. You really can't see the Milky Way very well. I'm just hoping that as long as the camera is going slow exposure, that you'll be able to see it a little bit better. I mean, I can see it a little bit, but it's not as bright as I thought it would be. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and shut down this camera so that way I don't kind of disturb the turtles and stuff. But I want to give you guys an update. It's about 3:30 in the morning. So it is about 20 minutes later. I've taken a couple shots. You know, unfortunately I forgot my tripod, so I'm trying to do everything on the ground. It makes it really hard to be able to get what I want in shot, you know, considering I'm trying to balance it off of, you know, my camera bags and stuff like that. So I'm not getting the kind of look that I want, and I'm also getting eaten alive by freaking mosquitoes, man, and like no-see-ums, and I've even sprayed myself. So anyways, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay out here to get it, but you know, it looks prettier through the camera in my opinion, because you can actually see it a little bit more. But there's plenty of stars out here, so that part is nice. I just wish my phone was picking that up for you guys. Anyway, so that's the update. I'm so glad that you guys got to hear a little bit about what was going on. And let's go ahead and look at what the photos actually look like straight out of camera. So there is a shot of what the image looked like straight out of camera. If you can imagine, just with me for a minute, that when I went outside and I looked up to the sky and I saw the Milky Way for the first time, it looked lighter than that. And so, needless to say, you might be able to understand why I was a little bit disappointed, because when we normally look at a photograph of the Milky Way, we see all these bright, beautiful colors, and it just looks awesome. And it turns out that the magic happens in the editing room. What happened when I got home was one of my friends sent me a text message, and he just so happened to take a picture of the Milky Way. He's like, hey, check out my Milky Way. And I'm like, dude, why does mine not look like yours? I send off the picture to him, and then he was kind enough to say, you know what? Let me tell you what to do. Basically, you're going to want to add some contrast. You're going to want to go ahead and add a little bit of clarity, some dehaze, and some saturation, and then you will see it. So I jumped in the editing room and off to adjust that contrast. I adjust that clarity and then the dehaze and saturation. And I actually sat there and kind of played with the sliders a little bit until I achieved the look that I wanted to achieve. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys two different images of the final images that I went ahead and took pictures of. And I'm going to tell you why I like them for different reasons. And I actually have a preference over one over the other. The first image, you can see here, you have a nice shot of the Milky Way, absolutely fantastic. But what I like more about the second image that I've taken is that you notice that there's a pathway. So to me, it kind of felt like there was a little bit of a story of going down the pathway, maybe to the Milky Way. Maybe you get taken off by aliens or something. Oh no, that would be an absolutely dreadful story. Because who wants to be taken over by aliens? But anyways, guys, no, I just felt like it kind of added to the story, and just, you know, you could maybe see yourself walking down the path and going down towards the beach and then looking over at the Milky Way or something and listening to the waves and stuff. So I just felt like there was more of a storyline there. So that is, in short, what my images turned out like. Now, two tips that I would suggest for in the future. One, I wish I had gone out to the lighthouse, but there was a couple reasons. One, it was really dark and I was really scared. But two, I didn't scout the location enough. I should have taken more time. I should have actually walked out and looked at the other side of the lighthouse to see the beach area. I should have talked to locals and asked them, hey, what does it look like at nighttime? You know, we have low tide, we have high tide. I'm really concerned about getting out there on the beach at high tide and having the water come all the way up. And then here I am with all my gear in the middle of the night, pitch black, can't see, and then I'm in a bunch of water. And the reason why I have that visualization is because when I went to go visit one of my uncles at his beach house location, I remember walking up to where the beach was at night, and the ocean had literally come all the way up to basically where the path was. And I was like, wow, I was amazed at how far the water had come up. And so having that visualization in my eyes or in my mind, I thought about, there I am on the beach, you know, taking pictures of the Milky Way, of the lighthouse, and then all that water comes up, and then I would be in an unsafe situation. So when going to take imagery, make sure that you know what's around in that area so that you are safe. That is number one. Two, the other thing I wish I would have thought about is, where was the Milky Way going to be in the sky? Because, you know, just like the moon and the sun, it moves constantly, and I didn't think about that. Maybe because it was the first time I ever decided to take a picture of the Milky Way. So it wasn't in my forethought to go, oh, I think I need to come out at such and such time because it will be lower in the sky. So that would be the other thing that I would think about. Lastly, if you guys found this valuable, please make sure that you go ahead and click that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification so that way when future videos come out, you will be notified of that. Also, please go ahead and share so that other people can learn about the craft, or just they want to go on a fun-filled adventure with us. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Take care now.